What's up everybody, Coach Garrett here. Let's utilize this time to get better. Let's utilize this time to perfect those push-ups, okay? I made a little perfect that push-up at home edition right now that we can all do in our living room in the comfort of our own home, okay? Before I get into that, I just want to kind of go through, the step-by-step on how to perfect that push-up. All right, step one is going to be understanding the brace, okay? What that means is understanding how to keep that core braced and understanding how to put those hips into a neutral position, okay? I know a lot of times people still have a tough time really understanding what to do with their hips in the push-up, all right? That's gonna help us from chasing our hips around during a push-up. Maybe when you're trying to push up, they're sagging down towards the ground. You start to get a really excessive lower back arch during your push-up. That's where this comes in, okay? One of the best exercises to practice this is in all fours, almost like a pelvic tilt, all right? It's similar to a cat-cow, but we're keeping that upper back nice and stable, and we're just letting the hips do the work. So once we start understanding that, again, practicing with those all four pelvic tilts is gonna help us out when it comes time to do the push-up. Now we're gonna move to step two, all right? That's gonna be the next thing. What's going on with our upper body, okay? A lot of the times when people get in a position, maybe their hands are way too wide, elbows are flared out like this. Now what ends up happening here is as we start to lower ourselves down, we start to shrug at the shoulder. Neck is all inside the shoulders there, elbows are out wide. That's a lot of stress on your shoulders that we want to avoid, okay? So the most optimal position is, I like to think about, hands are going to go directly under shoulders. Think of your fingertips and your eyeballs making a triangle on the floor, okay? That's what I want you to think about. Spread those hands hard, and then you're going to think about your eyeballs above your fingers when they're pushed into the ground, okay? That's going to be number one. Then you want to think about relaxing those shoulders. You want to think down and back, getting those traps as far away from your ears as possible, and then screwing your hands in the floor. That external rotation there is going to help me kind of be able to guide myself down, really utilizing the upper back. All right, so with a drill like that, eccentric push-ups is huge. Going to all fours and really working on that scapular control, okay, that's the drill that I want you guys to practice now. All right, so once we practice those two drills and really have a better understanding of where our body position should be through our hips and shoulders, now it's time to start talking about step three, which is proper progression. So if you want to get better at your push-up, you really have to progress properly, all right? Be smart about it, all right? Sometimes you have to take a couple steps back to get better in order to move further forward, okay? Two things I want to go through really quick is doing push-ups on your knees. That seems like an easy one where people are like, I'll just go to my knees. You know what? That's all well and good, but if we don't understand our core control, you know what? It doesn't mean anything. It's never going to get better. Okay? So that's why we don't use the knees too much unless necessary. So it doesn't look like you're just teetering up and down. All right? The next one, which I absolutely hate, is micro reps. Mini reps where we think we're really doing a push-up because we're on our toes, but we're technically never getting any better. Okay, I've seen people in that purgatory of, half reps and stuff like that forever, in group exercise classes and stuff like that because they've never properly progressed. So therefore, they've never gotten any better over time. So what I recommend is taking it back and start working on progressions that's going to get you better in the long run, okay? The first one is going to be an incline push-up. So if you're doing this at home, I recommend getting to a high point, maybe the highest point of your couch, and just working some push-ups off of there. Establishing that position with your shoulders, establishing that position with your hips, and working through there. once we can get at least 8 solid reps, then maybe it's time to lower that incline. So instead of being at the highest point of your couch, maybe go to a little bit of a lower point. All right. All right, step 3 on the progression is if we can get a nice solid 8 at that level of the couch on the incline and we're almost at the floor, you know what, maybe it's time now to elevate the floor and actually work from the ground up. So what we're going to do now is grab a stack of pillows. I would say all right, now when we've got to a point where we only need one pillow to do our push-ups, and we were still able to get 8 pain-free and comfortable and aligned in perfect position, then I would say, you know what, take them away and let's start working from the floor. You've really just perfected your push-ups. Now, I want you to remember that this isn't going to be something that you can get done in a day. It's going to take us a while, and you're probably going to be, stuck at one of these progressions for a little bit. But again, work up to 8. Once you move on to the next progression, you're probably going to end up at like 3 with perfect form, and then you're just going to keep building up until you get to that 8 and then move on. So again, think of the long game. At the end of the day, you're going to be on the floor if we progress this properly.